we're at Cornerstone United Methodist Church here today for our Family and Friends Day. And Dee-1 happened to be our guest speaker for today. So we look forward to the message the brother is going to bring.
That's right.
We are so excited about our young people.
That's right. I'm bringing it to him.
He's bringing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, tough act to follow after that. Real tough act. I ain't even bring no music, man. Well, my name is Dee-1. Thank you for the beautiful introduction. I really appreciate that. It's quite humbling. And I don't know if y'all can tell by my demeanor, but this is my first time doing this. This is my first time. So I have that, you know how when it's your first time doing anything, it's that excitement? That's why I pulled my cell phone out and was videotaping what happened just now, because this is exciting to me. I'm really, really honored and blessed to be here right now. So the greatest part of this is that God is speaking through me right now. This isn't me. This isn't me, I promise. So when I was preparing the message, when I was listening to the Bible, I'm like, yep, I'm thinking about the artists who I've performed with. I'm thinking about the thousands of people that I have listening to my music at this point. A fan base, we might call it, but it's just a platform that God has given me. And I realized that at this point in my life. And now that I done realized that, oh, the world is in trouble now. They're in trouble. So, what I titled today's message is Ripe, Rotten, or Invisible. What kind of fruit are you producing? Ripe, rotten, or invisible? What kind of fruit are you producing? So, I took this from two scriptures. So I'm gonna start out in Luke chapter 13, verses 6 through 9. If you have your Bible, you can turn there. If not, I got you covered. I'm gonna read it for you. And this is Jesus speaking. He's giving an illustration of a barren fig tree. And Christ said, "A man planted a fig tree in his garden and came again and again to see if there were any fruit on it. But he was always disappointed. Finally, he said to his gardener, I've waited 3 years and there hasn't been a single fig. Cut it down. It's taking up space that we could use for something else." The gardener answered, "Give it one more chance. Leave it another year and give it special attention and plenty of fertilizer. If we get figs next year, fine. If not, you can cut it down." So what kind of fruit are you producing? Ripe fruit, rotten fruit, or invisible fruit? And the second passage that I want to pull from, which is very, very relevant to this, is John chapter 15, verses 1 through 4. And I'll just read it for you. And Jesus is the true vine. So it says, "I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch that doesn't produce fruit. And he prunes the branches." That means he disciplines them. He shows them special attention. He prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned for greater fruitfulness by the message I have given you. Remain in me, and I will remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine. And you cannot be fruitful apart from me. So that's where we're pulling from today. When I read that, y'all, that jumped off the page to me. Jumped off the page to me. Because as we all know, life is temporary. So when it comes to what type of fruit we produce, I thought about my life as a young man. I grew up right here in New Orleans East, my whole life. My grandparents right there in Michoud on Toulon Street. You know, and I just thought about it, and I said, you know what? I've never been a malicious person. I've never been the type of person who intentionally tried to pick fights with people. I wasn't the type of young man who would try to take your girlfriend from you. You know how a lot of rappers, that's what they talk about in music nowadays, though. I'm gonna take your girl from you. Like that make you a bigger man or something. I've never been that dude. Never been that dude. Never really disrespected adults. You know, my mama taught me well. You know, I was blessed to where I always respected my elders coming up. In middle school, for the first time, when some of my friends, when we would be walking to the streetcar, because I went to school uptown, when we'd be walking to the streetcar and some of them would take a left and go walk back behind the bushes to smoke weed, and it's the first time in my life I'm seeing, okay, I can do what I'm supposed to be doing and catch the bus and go home, or veer off this path and go and do this. I never was really tempted by that because I had a good upbringing, so that was cool. I never really got caught up in stealing. When some of my middle school friends, when they got into this habit of just stealing, so they would steal out of stores, out of Tower Records, Peaches Records, steal out of people's purses at school, teachers. I never got caught up in that stuff. But I also never spoke up against it. So what kind of fruit are you producing? Ripe, rotten, or invisible? Because no fruit, that might as well be a bad fruit. Because I just read from the word that the Lord said that we are to be producing fruit, not just sitting back and saying, well, I didn't produce anything bad, so I'm not going to hell, and I'm not a bad person. No. Well, I never spoke up against this stuff, and there was a reason why I was producing invisible fruit, and a lot of people out here can relate to that. One reason was because I had never seen an example of somebody young like myself. I'm not talking about my grandpa. I saw my grandpa wake up every day when I was young. You know how you're young and you're afraid of the dark, so you know you sleep in the bed with your parents and your grandparents. I was afraid of the dark, so I slept in the bed with my grandparents. But every morning I would see my grandpa wake up right before I went to Rainbow Lands, right here on Bullet and Bold in the League every Saturday. And I would see my grandpa get on the side of the bed and put his knees on the ground and just like this for about 10 minutes every morning, saying his prayers. And that was the first time I was introduced to somebody who wasn't just a positive person, but was really a man of God. Because I could see him praying to God. And I could see it in his everyday life through his actions. I could see that. But you know why I was producing invisible fruit at first? Because I didn't see anybody my age who was doing anything positive. Because unfortunately, and the youngsters can relate to this, in our society, we don't glorify that enough. There's young people doing positive things because they're sitting in this church right now. I know they're doing positive things. They're doing liturgical dance. They're sitting there all dressed up like my man looking fly in the front row. You know, like, I know they're doing things, but we don't see that. We'd rather applaud Lil Boosie coming home from jail and go crazy and everybody change their Instagram status to that. We'd rather talk about Kanye and Kim Kardashian and how much is their wedding gonna cost. And we infatuated with that. We'd rather talk about, man, who won the fight out of Jay-Z and Solange? Because you know they got the fight, I see that. And they see, okay, that's what's getting the attention, so maybe that's the path I should go down. We go to websites like celebritynetworth.com and just talk about, man, who you think got more money? Lil Wayne or Rick Ross? Let's go. Let's look at this website and see which celebrities are the richest. So these are the stories that are being glorified. So that's why coming up, being smart wasn't really the cool thing. That's why when I graduated from college and I taught middle school, I would see kids who were smart, who was hiding their good grades from the rest of the class. They was hiding their good grades. I'm like, Kelsey, you just made a 98 on this test. But she don't want the rest of the class to know that because that's not cool. But guess what? The kids who doing bad, man, I made an F on this test, man. I don't care about school, man. You gonna tell me? That's how they would do. And I was like, okay, I see what it is. And I had a friend, and rest in peace. Rest in peace to my friend Carl. That was my best friend growing up. And me and Carl were the same person pretty much. Growing up smart. We never really got into a lot of this. But when we hit middle school, and when you started having to make a conscious decision to either produce ripe fruit or rotten fruit, because it was hard to stay invisible when you got people every day who are tempting you with these different things. With weed, with stealing, with making bad grades. It's hard to be invisible at that point, and you got to produce some type of fruit, you know? And y'all know I do music, so I wrote a song about this. Carl isn't with us anymore, but this is a verse from a song I wrote. It's called Accountability Party. I'm at my homeboy's funeral, staring in his casket. His eyes are closed, he lays motionless. His mother's face flooded with tears. I kiss her on her forehead. This day confirms her worst fears. I saw him changing since the 7th grade. We were both good students with bright futures ahead. He was a smart dude who ain't know what to do. Cause where we from, being smart ain't cool, sad but true. I noticed his grade slip, cause he stopped trying. I noticed he started stealing. Noticed he started lying. Noticed he started thugging. Noticed he was changing. But I ain't say nothing, cause I ain't want to sound lame. And I'm hating myself as I stare at his dead face. Feel like if I would have said something, he wouldn't be dead. I watched him fall off right before my eyes. Now I can't forgive myself, hard as I try. Invisible fruit can do. You're just gonna sit there and watch things happen in life, and you sit there, and on the back end, you're thinking, I could have did something. He could have still been here with us. I could have did better in school. I could have done this better. I could have done this, but a life could have still been lived, and I really took that serious. So I graduated from Ben Franklin High School. Who was that that's going to Ben Franklin? Yeah, go ahead, girl. All right. So I graduated from Ben Franklin High School, and I went to LSU. I could have went to a lot of colleges, to be honest with you. God blessed me with a beautiful mind, and I had really good grades. I went to LSU primarily chasing behind a female. I'm human. And I could have went to Morehouse, I could have went to Howard University, I could have went to University of Florida, all this stuff. But I went to LSU. And even that wasn't a relationship that was producing ripe fruit, if you know what I mean. That wasn't a relationship that God could look down and smile at and say, I love how those two teenagers are glorifying me with their relationship. They're abstaining from things they should be abstaining from. Or they're doing things that are positive. No, not really. And guess what? My freshman year, that relationship got cut short quickly. And I learned the hard way because I got cheated on. But I can't get mad now that I look back at it because it all happened for a reason, you know? At the same time, my friend from high school who I played basketball with, we became roommates at LSU. I was like, this is perfect, man. You were my boy in high school, you were the point guard, I was the shooting guard, we played basketball together, now we're roommates. But he didn't have a spiritual foundation. He wasn't thinking about what type of fruit he wanted to produce for his life. So he got up to LSU around influences, and they say, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. An idle mind is the devil's playground. And his mind was quite idle when we got up there. Quite idle. And next thing I know, in our dorm room, this man was selling weed. This man was selling all kind of pills that I didn't even know what they were. You know? I was like, is this aspirin? What is this? You know? This man, I woke up one morning, he had a gun on the dresser. I'm like, what? So me, I'm like, okay, this doesn't feel right. Now I can sit here and keep producing these invisible fruit and just not say anything and be like, let me stay on my side of the room and just go on with my life. But then something in my spirit started really tugging at me. Like, you know what? I need to say something. So thankfully, I had a good foundation. I came home and told my mama. I said, Mom, what do you think I should do? And I ran the whole situation down to her. And she looked at me. She said, you already know what to do. You know how I raised you. And I knew what that meant. So I went back to school and I requested a room change, right? Requested a room change. Thankfully, I was taken from room 803 and put in room 310. And 7 days after I did that, I started hearing the stories. Man, you heard the police busted in your old room, huh? They got your roommate kicked out of school, kicked off campus. Gone to jail, got all these fines to pay. And if I would have been in there producing the invisible fruit, if I didn't want to say, no, I have a purpose for my life, I'd have been an accessory to all of that stuff in school when I got to LSU. Still, I was like, man, I'm starting to see that you really do have to make a conscious effort of what direction you want to go with your life. I'm seeing that. And I got into hip hop. That's when I started doing musicals when I got to LSU. And I started off, I got in my comfort zone because I found a bunch of dudes from New Orleans who were up there pursuing rap as well. Like 15 of us, literally, 15 of us. We were like a Wu-Tang Clan to LSU. Bunch of people, for real. And it was interesting because when I started rapping with them, I started to see like, man, y'all talking about a bunch of stuff in y'all music that none of us are living this life. You know what I'm saying? Why are we talking about all this negativity? None of us are living this life. And it seemed like it bothered me, but it didn't really bother them. You know, and around this time, my other friend, Ryan Morgan, rest in peace to him, he didn't do anything wrong. He was playing football, pickup football at Pontchartrain Park. He got murdered. Then the stuff happened with the girl, stuff happened with my roommate, all this stuff, and eventually, y'all, I broke down and reached the lowest point of my life. This right around Hurricane Katrina, and I gave my life to Christ. I said, God, yeah, I gave my life to Christ. I grew up going to church, but it was tradition. That's why I went, because that's what you're supposed to do on Sunday morning. I went to school, I went to Sunday school, all that stuff. But it's a difference between being positive and just being a good person and being saved. And saying, God, my life is dedicated to living for you, right? So, once again, I was never a bad person. And as I look in this crowd right now, I see that there's no bad people in here. I don't care how rotten our fruit has been as far as the life we've lived. We're not bad people because we don't come from a bad God. Right? So with that being said, I just made it a habit to learn how to dim my light. God gave me a light. I was always different, always stood out. But I learned how to dim my light my whole life. And so many kids out here and so many adults, we think about dimming our light so we can fit in. So we can fit in. And I became a master at dimming my light. And as I was reading John chapter 15, verses 18 through 19, it says, when the world hates you, remember, it hated me before it hated you. The world would love you if you belong to it, but you don't. I chose you to come up out of the world, and so it hates you. But if we're too concerned about the world accepting us, and we want the world to love us, instead of making sure that God is smiling down on us, then we're trying to please the wrong people. We're trying to please the wrong God, and we're trying to dim our light that God naturally gave us. So that's what I learned when I was in school, right? I learned that, so I gave my life to Christ. That's cool. I graduated school. When I graduated school, I wasn't making any money from doing music, so I couldn't make that my career, but I did use my education. So kids, stay in school, get your education, because it gives you options, right? It gives you options. So I had a newfound outlook on life. I'm teaching, right? I'm a middle school teacher in Baton Rouge. And for the first time in life, I start seeing that, you know what? I'm actually a leader. I never saw myself as a leader, y'all. Trust me. I never saw myself as a leader. I always just saw myself. I have a little sister. Unfortunately, we aren't as close as I would like to be. It hurts me to even say that. I feel like, I never really just had that connection with anyone growing up to where I felt like the leader. I just knew how to dim my light. And people were attracted to me, like, man, something special about you. But I'd be like, nah, I'm not different. I'm just like y'all. I'm just not going to go smoke the weed. I'm just not going to go pick up the gun or do anything like that. I'm just going to study. But I still want to fit in with y'all. And for the first time in my life when I started teaching, and I saw these 6th graders and these 7th and these 8th graders every day looking up to me with just that brightness in their eyes, like Mr. Augustine. You're a young black male who looks like us, walks like us, talks like us. And I could see it in their eyes. They didn't even have to say it, that they looked up to me. And for the first time in my life, I realized what my domain was. What my domain was. That God put me in front of these people to produce fruit. These are some fruit. And what type of fruit am I going to produce? Because I'm in front of them every single day. And those are my students. And I did not want to lead them down the wrong path. I did not want to lead them down the wrong path. So, it's really one of those things where I'm seeing how when you're a leader, you can really produce ripe or rotten fruit. I can take those kids and poison their minds. I could be putting music out here knowing that people are listening to it and poisoning people's minds and messing their whole perception up of what it means to be a positive person, a man of God, a woman of God. I could be doing all of that stuff. And, I really took that serious. So I was in front of them for 2 years. And I saw kids who would learn rap lyrics and Lil Boosie and Lil Wayne lyrics way quicker than they could learn multiplication or long division, which I was trying to teach. I saw that. And I said, you know what? I want to restore some balance to that industry. Because we can't hide the fact that it's not going to change. The kids are not going to stop listening to hip-hop. I listen to hip-hop. This generation is hip-hop. My man Red Dog got up here. He's hip-hop. I saw old school in the background, they was getting it as well. It's a hip-hop society. Okay, cool. But that means that I can still get in and try to produce some positive, some ripe fruit. So when we talk about these fruit, so when I walked away from teaching, after 2 years, I walked away from it, y'all. And I said, you know what, God, I have the faith that you have a platform for me, that you want me to follow, and I feel like you've ordained me. So I call myself Dee-1, but it's because I feel like I'm a D1 that was chosen to do this. I was given this platform. And my name is David, so I put a D in it, so it's D1. But I really felt like, God, you called me to do this. This isn't something I want to do anymore. And you know, giving me access to all these fans. Anytime I put a song out, thousands of people listen to it. I put a music video out the other day. Thousands of people in one day go and they watch the music video. They get something from that every time. They get something. What did I do? Did I impart something positive in their life? Or did I plant, you know, a seed in them that's going to help produce a ripe fruit? Or am I planting seeds that can produce ripe fruit? Or am I just riding the fence so much that it's really invisible and they don't walk away from that concert or that Dee-1 video or that Dee-1 song feeling any kind of way? You know, and I thought about that. And I wrote another song. And this song was called I'm Not Perfect, I'm a Christian. And this was a song at the top of 2013 when I just felt like, man, if I was to die today, I feel like people would say, oh, Dee-1, oh, he was a good dude. He was a positive dude. He didn't hurt anybody. But I don't know if they would say he was a man of God. I didn't know if they would really say that. I didn't know if that would get lost in the shuffle because I tried to hide in the camouflage so much. And God really put this on my spirit, so I wrote this. I can't remember it now. Hold on. Hold on. Fatima, help me out. People see I'm a positive dude on stage, but it's the difference between being positive and being safe. Get deep with me. I'm in the room playing music for some industry folks. Woo, I keep that heat with me. I feel like they can take me to the next level. Trying to impress them and show them my talent special. Look, the conversation turns religious. It's so convenient to say I believe in God and keep it real vague and not specific. Do I not want to offend nobody? Do I not want to go in detail and risk talking crazy about it? Am I worried about what's convenient for me? Am I disowning Christ before others? Matthew 10:33. Man, am I playing as safe as can be? No, sir. I'm not afraid to proudly claim my Christianity. I'm a Christian. And that don't mean I think I'm perfect, but I know I got a purpose. That's why I'm on my grind. I'm a Christian. Got God's favor, so I shine. My swag is divine. Operating on this time. I'm a Christian. I can't deny it. I can't deny it. No need to hide it. I'm a Christian. Well, what? I'm a Christian. Right? Yeah. I look at the songs and I record so many that sometimes if a song is a year old, I gotta sit there and have a moment like, Alzheimer's kick in for real. So, really. So with that being said, I developed what I call mission vision. And mission vision, trust me y'all, I wrote this down. If you don't have mission vision, you'll get caught slipping. Mission vision is knowing that every single day we wake up, we have a purpose down here and we have fruit that we're supposed to be producing. We all have fruit that we're supposed to be producing. Mission vision is saying that in everything I do, I'm going to keep God first, and I'm going to do three things. I call it 3's up. And that's be real, be righteous, and be relevant. In everything I do. I want to be real because I want people to know that this is nothing fake or fabricated about this man when you see him, when you experience him. I want to be righteous because I have people who look up to me, and I want to lead them in the right path. And I want to be relevant because being relevant is when you have influence. If you're relevant, people are going to take what you say and say, you know what, yeah, you have influence, sir, so I'm going to listen to you. I'm actually going to follow that path. It's all about producing fruit. So with that being said, I'm going to leave y'all with three things, y'all. I'm going to leave y'all with three things. And I didn't want to be that rapper who talked all this positive stuff and all this godly stuff, but you could never see it in my life. I like to be what I call a walking revolution, not a talking revolution. You know? So if I can speak to kids, if I can go out, we shot a music video and we went and we fed the homeless all around the city. I put the whole budget that normally I pay somebody to shoot a music video towards paying somebody to cater some food. And we went under the bridge on Father's Day and made like a 3 or 4 course meal for a bunch of homeless. You saw hundreds of homeless people in this long line. You know, made a bunch of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches that I made. And we went around and made bag lunches and just gave them. And it's not because I think I'm changing the world, but I know that when thousands of people see that video, it sparks something in them to say, dang, Dee-1 did his little part, I could do my little part. And all of our little part is helping produce ripe fruit. And that's what we want to do. All right. I'm excited. 3 things and I'm going to leave y'all. Number 1, you have to be aware of your domain. You have to be aware of your domain. Think about it. Each one of us has to think about this. Who has been placed in your life for you to have influence on? Think about that. Nothing happens by coincidence. You are friends with those people you're friends with for a reason. You can have influence on them. You were born into the family you were born into for a reason. Don't complain about the family you were born into. You were put there to have influence on them. Straight up. Nothing happens by coincidence. It's called our jurisdiction. Mayor Landrew is not that concerned with what's going on in Shreveport or what's going on in Lafayette. His jurisdiction is what? The city of New Orleans. Amen. Think about what your jurisdiction is. Who did God place you around that you have influence on? Because we all have a domain or a jurisdiction. We all have that, and we have the ability to produce fruit within those people that we were placed in their domain. Everybody. So think about that. You have to know your domain. My domain might be thousands. Your domain might be millions. Your domain might be 3 people. But isn't each soul equally important to the Lord? So as a rapper, I got away from saying, oh, I want to be platinum, and if I'm not platinum and reaching millions of people, I feel like I failed. No, because whatever platform is meant for me, whatever my domain is, God doesn't make mistakes, and He gave that to me for a reason. Same thing with you. Know your domain. Know your domain. When I was in high school, we played Old Perry Walker in basketball, and this young brother dropped 78 points on us one game. One person. I don't even want to say his name, but he dropped 78 points. And you know how I felt? I said, yeah, that's messed up, but I wasn't checking him. That wasn't my domain. That wasn't my domain. I was checking this man who had about 6 points. That wasn't my jurisdiction. For real. For real. It's messed up though, but still, that's your fault, man. You know? For real. So, know your domain as a person because we all have it. And I'm talking about even from the youngsters. Know your domain. Know your little siblings, your big siblings. Man, how y'all think I feel for all the youngsters right now? I'm talking to y'all who I consider little brothers and little sisters, but I'm talking to people twice my age. Yeah. How y'all think I feel? I can't be saying, God, you know, nah, I'm not meant for that. Look how God is using me to reach people younger than me and people older than me. So remember this, just because somebody is older than you, just because somebody has more of a educational background than you, just because somebody might have more money than you, that don't mean that you can't plant a positive seed in them and bear some right fruit. Remember that. Remember that. It'll be that teacher at school that's picking on you that you're like, man, why is her attitude just so mean and so nasty and all this type of stuff? And it'll be the way you deal with her, so pleasant and polite, and be like, God bless you, man. Like, it's all good, you know? And it'll be that'll spark something in her that'll make her say, man, maybe I need to change my ways. Because this man is 14 years old, and look how well-mannered he is, and look how diligent he is about just doing well. So y'all sit down. Just wanted y'all to know that, though. Don't ever be intimidated. Y'all remember that little boy named David, right? Who slayed that big giant Goliath, right? Right? They said Goliath was like 6'9" or something crazy like that. And David just a young warrior, and he was fearless. My name is David. I feel like that's not by coincidence. You know? Straight up. Because in this music industry, Lord knows that there's a lot of Goliaths I'm trying to slay in this music industry. When God puts me on tour with Lil Wayne, with Drake, with Lil Boozy, you know? When I'm doing shows with these people, I know it's not by coincidence, but it's like, you know what, am I going to be too afraid to let my light shine and just produce invisible fruit, or am I going to say, God, and get me in front of them, and now my voice is relevant to them, because they're like, Dee-1 is a beast on a microphone, let me hear where his head is. I got people like Macklemore, who's one of the biggest rappers in the world, but we on a tour bus together, and he's asking me about my Christianity. And what really causes me to say I'm not going to drink and I'm not going to smoke and I don't curse in my music and all that. He's curious about that. This man is a millionaire. Right. I'm not no millionaire. Right? But he's curious about me. He's sold millions and millions of records at this point. But he's asking me things like, man, what really keeps you grounded like that? Like I see that you carry yourself different. You know, that's planting a seed, y'all. It's a reason why I'm eating lunch with a millionaire the other day in Baton Rouge, my friend who played in the NFL. It's a reason why I'm eating lunch with him, but he's wanting to sit down with me and tap into what I have. Because it's this inner peace that he can just see. It's God. That's what it is. It's God. That's what it is. That's it. It's God. Straight up. So number one was you have to know your domain. Number two was you have to know what you feed yourself. You have to know what you feed yourself. Now I don't judge, and I don't think you should judge, but you should be a food inspector. That means you're gonna look at that food before you eat it. We're from New Orleans. We're real picky about what we eat. I can't just go to New Hampshire and say, oh, y'all got seafood, or y'all got shrimp po' boys, or let me get that. No. We picky about what we eat. So when I talk about food, I'm talking metaphorically. I'm saying you have to be picky about what you consume. You have to be picky about what type of music are you listening to? Because whenever you feed yourself, you're going to grow in that direction. Are you feeding yourself the type of media? Do you have the type of friends around you? Do you have the type of family energy around you that can really allow you to produce ripe fruit? Or if you're listening to the negativity all day, it's going to probably lead to you producing negative fruit. Think about that. Think about that. You have to know what you feed yourself. Think about the type of energy that's around you. Please do that. I'm sorry, but I had to cut some people off. I had to cut some people off. And guess what? They came back when they realized that you're not even judging me, but you focus. You got mission vision, and I respect that about you. And you couldn't be around this energy all day for the mission that God has you on. Straight up. So with the music, think about it. It's not just music. When you memorize this stuff and it gets in your mind, it makes you think that all that behavior is okay. And especially when you're younger, you're more impressionable by that stuff. I'm not talking to the youngsters just though. I'm talking to the adults. I'm saying be careful of what we're feeding ourselves. Straight up, you wouldn't, and be careful what you're feeding the youth. You wouldn't make, my mama never made me a meal thinking that I'm gonna poison David and April right now. I'm gonna poison them, I'm gonna make something bad. So that when they eat this, they go throw up. No, you never did that to your kids. You never made a meal that you knew was going to poison them when they ate it. So the same thing with the way you talk to them, with the type of behavior you're showing them. The same thing. I got a partner in Baton Rouge who makes DVDs, and he's going around just trying to get to the root of what's wrong with the hood. I know what's wrong with the hood. On his DVD, it's showing a mother giving her little 2-year-old Seagram's gin to drink. Yeah, on camera. And she laughing. When he's like, what are you doing, miss? And she laughing like, ha. No, that's not funny. That's not funny. What type of fruit you think that's going to produce? Rotten fruit. Rotten fruit. So we talked about not just sitting back and letting life pass you by and producing invisible fruit. Not wanting to feed yourself negativity to help you produce rotten fruit. We talked about all that. But number 3, I want y'all to take this. Take this to heart. We are never, ever too right to turn right. Come on. We're never too right to turn right in the eyes of the Lord. I know some people out here like Dee-1, that's cool, but guess what, Dee-1? I did smoke weed, or I did pack a gun before, or I do make bad grades, or I did drop out, or I did do this or do that or whatever. But in the eyes of the Lord who we serve, y'all, and who created us, we are never too right to turn right. Never. Ever. And you have to know that, you have to be able to understand that, wow, He is a forgiving God. But the time is now. The time is now, because tomorrow is the promise. So if you feel like you're right, and we all sinners. So if you don't feel like you're right, then you're lying. Because we all sinners to a certain extent. So who hasn't messed up in here? Raise your hand. I'm just checking. I know. But we are never too right to turn right. And that's the great thing about the God that we serve and that created us. That's the great thing. He took Matthew, a tax collector. Guess what? Turned him into an apostle and a saint. Took Andrew, just a regular old fisherman. Turned him into an apostle, a saint. Took my man Ryan, who was a college dropout and had all kinds of disciplinary problems in Baton Rouge, and now he owned a multi-million-dollar business, and a church-going man, and a father and a husband. Took my man Larry, who was an outcast his whole life. Couldn't make the basketball team to save his life. People picked on him. He was bullied, and now he's the head coach at a Division I college basketball team. Come on, man. Took my man Silky, who I was telling y'all about, who served like ton of years in jail, and who was a gang leader and produced a lot of rotten fruit in his life. produced a whole lot of rotten fruit. And who knows what those rotten fruit went on to do? Changed his whole life around him. Changed his whole life, and now this man is a man of God. And now he's giving talks all across the country about how God changed his life. And he's one of the people who influenced me to stay on the right path. Better been a barbershop in Baton Rouge. So what you mean he can't take you? You think you too right? Nah, you're not. Took my man Gary, who's in the NBA, and in the NBA, it's all about balling and having all these women and doing this and doing that, and got him focused up there, playing for the Washington Wizards and still being a man of God, to where the teammates in the locker room are seeing him and saying something different about that brother. And he's not ashamed to say that, you know what, it's the God in me. Straight up. Hear that. Took Moses to lead his people out of Egypt. And Moses was like, no, I'm not worthy, God. Took him and said, no, you are worthy because I called you. I put my hand on you. I blessed you. You know, he took David, like I said, defeated Goliath. And guess what? He took little David Augustine Jr. off of Dwyer Road from New Orleans, Louisiana, who never been a leader his whole life, who always felt like, man, I'm just trying to dim my light because I don't want to stand out too much. He took him, gave him a microphone, and said, man, you can really rap. Got people listening to the music. Got him on MTV. Got him on nationwide tours. Signed a major label record deal. I signed a record deal with RCA Records, one of the biggest labels in the world, a couple of months ago, y'all, right here from New Orleans. Took that young man and said, you know what, I don't care how many invisible fruit you've been producing, you watch your homie die, all this type of stuff. It's never too late, because you still got life in you, and you still breathing, and I'm going to use you, David. I'm going to use you, Dee-1. That's what he did. I wrote this song a couple months ago. I said, I'm in Cincinnati performing. I'm sick as a dog. Throwing up before the show with diarrhea and all. Turns out that it would be a night I never forget. One of my fans gave his life to Christ during my set. Whew. Man, I never thought in a million years that would ever happen. It almost brought me to tears. Man, I only started rapping trying to be like Weezy, but God had plans for me. And ducking God ain't easy, believe me. I'm so far from immaculate, feeling like Moses when God first called him, unworthy, inadequate. I'm from a different jungle. A lot of my homeboys ain't saved. I'm just gonna keep it 100. And I be trying to walk straight, but still I stumble. My life must be too dim if they see darkness at the end of the tunnel. Ain't nobody grow up on no Jesus music around our way. First Christian rap I ever heard it was Crit. But baby, I'm different. Ain't making living branding myself as a Christian. I'm in mainstream existence. People say that boy's spitting, but I never quite fit into a box. Ain't wanna let me in. They had deep block, so I had to pick the locks. Cousin struggling right now. Uncle struggling right now. Partner selling dope. The feds are coming busting right now. Sick of running right now. So I'm coming right now. Pray to God. He told me I just need to trust him right now. So I'm gonna let him use him. Expect the unexpected. If my mama disowned me, I'd probably be unaffected. Just as long as you respect it, you ain't gotta understand that line. I picture God recline, laughing at these plans of mine. I try to turn left, he turned me right. Turn up, he turned me down. Run away, he pulled me close, handed me a crown. You a king, young man, so behave as one. They say I look like Bob Marley, but I'm David's son. Triple entendre, rap genius. Don't ask me how, your gas go power. You softer than to catch me out. But I ain't mad at you, I ain't tripping. I was the same person before I got that mission vision. Me, I'm planting seeds. If you're trying to help, water them. Birthing new ideas. If you're trying to help, father them. I don't care about your cake, I look at the heart of man. You just here to criticize, honestly get bothering. I'm in the building, I'm probably on that Pellegrino. Dolphin LeBron's on my feet, I think I'm Dan Marino. Man, I'm so bout it, guarantee Master Pino. But that ain't nothing to me though. I stay over with my ego, got the pretty girls crushed out. OG salute. Church folk praying for them. God, what you done? But I prayed not to make it if I wasn't ready for this stage. Then I made it, so why be afraid? I surrender, love. If y'all please bow y'all heads with me. Lord, you put me up here this morning, and I didn't know what was going to become of it, Lord. Like I said, I didn't grow up being a leader. I didn't grow up thinking about producing fruit. I didn't know what my domain was. I wasn't really worried about what I was feeding myself. And sometimes I felt like I was too rotten to turn back right, Lord. But you're using me. I'm submitting to that. I see that you're using me, Lord. And I know that there's people out here I can look in their eyes and I can tell that they know you have a calling on their life, Lord. They know you do. I'm submitting to the calling on my life, and every day I have to remind myself that life is precious and life is temporary, Lord. But if you are divine, then for us to be the branches coming from your love, Lord, everything's going to be all right. And I'm asking you, Father, as I'm speaking up here this morning, Lord, I feel like it was one person. I feel like it was one person who if I was put here to speak to one person's heart, Lord, that's priceless. That's priceless, Lord. If there's 100 people whose heart I was put here to speak to, that's priceless too, Lord. And I just know that it takes a village to raise a child, Lord, and I know that everyone has a role to play, and I just thank you for how you're using me, Lord. But if there's anyone in here today who feels like they want a closer relationship with you, or they want a real relationship with you, instead of just, yeah, I believe in God, if there's anyone who wants a real relationship with you, if they want to accept you as their Lord and their Savior, and dedicate the rest of their life to living for you, to please you and to honor you, and spread your word, Lord, I ask you to just please speak to their heart right now. Or even if they've dedicated their life to you in the past, Lord, and if they've gotten to the point where they say, you know what, I feel like I'm back to producing invisible fruit, Lord. I feel like I'm just messing up and my walk with you isn't as strong as it should be. Lord, I ask you to please speak to their heart right now, Lord. And with everyone's head bowed, Lord, if anyone feels like that, if they want to rededicate their life to you or dedicate their life to you for the first time, Lord, with everyone's head bowed, I ask you to please just raise their hands so I can see it as I look around. Because I want to be able to give a special prayer to them and say a special prayer for them. And I see it. I see the hand raised. That's perfect. And it's not for everyone to see. It's just for you to see, Lord. And I see the hands raised. I see you on the left. I see you in the back. I see the hands raised. It don't matter how old or how young you are, Lord. I see people who want to come and live their life for you. And I ask them to just say this prayer quietly wherever they're sitting at. Lord, I come to you this morning